All right, so as you guys can see here, and this picture that they got in the directions, you got to get all this stuff right here installed, all the handrails, the ramps, etc. Bam! There you go. Got those in there. Okay, that's what they look like. I actually got a couple interesting, good, some good shots, I should say, that I took, and they're on my Instagram page. You guys want to check that out. But yeah, nevertheless, got all the handrails in both sides. Just want to show you guys that real quick. Alright, and just thought I'd put my little ST70 ACE there in the middle and take a look at her. Or she's getting serviced. She got to get a traction motor changed out, so got her in the shop. Alright, so the whole front page is done now. Okay, we got all the rail pedestals, the rail stanchions in there. We got the platform and the platform stanchions in there. We have all the handrails and all the ramps up in there as well. And now we're moving on to the next page, which is to get the vertical uprights, which they call H-columns, in. And this is the directions. Glue 4 H-columns, part number 12, into the floor through the openings in the platforms. Then glue the 2 H-columns into the floor next to the platform, into the floor through the platform and onto the backs of 12. Next, glue the remaining 12, the remaining H-columns, part number 12, into the base at the sides. Glue the columns in place. Glue the center columns, the part number 46, into the A end of the base. Then glue the center columns, part number 50, to the B end of the base. Okay? So, real quick, those are the pieces that in which it is referring to. These here, and you have there's some more on that one as well, but nevertheless, those are the parts. And when it's talking AN and BN, just so you guys can see. Oh, I got it setting up perfectly, just like that. All right, so as you guys can see here, this is the BN, okay, where the wider spot on that platform is, okay, where the 2 is supposed to slide into. This is the BN, which is the front. You have the AN, which is the back. And notice how it's kind of backwards. But if you know what the diesel houses look like when they're upright, I don't know how they call it. I call this the front. How about that? I call this the front, this the back, because it looks more as an entrance to me. It's this part's raised up a little bit higher, and this part's a little bit lower. It's flat. Okay. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about once we get more towards the end. But this is the wider opening in which the two H-rods will slide into, and that's the smaller hole in which on the A end the 1 H-column will slide into. So that's what's next. Yeah, this is, and the way I'm explaining it, this is the front, this is the back, in case you guys ever get confused. I know this is saying A and B. I don't know if this is talking, if it's following the rules, like you have a car and you have the B end where the brake end is, and the A end is just the opposite end. I don't know if it's talking about that, or if that's the logic behind it, but my logic behind it is, yes, this is the B end, yet this is the front, because it's raised up a little bit higher, and it looks like it's more of an entrance than an exit, okay? And I think a lot of people do it that way as well. I know a few maulers that have diesel houses on their layout, and in every single layout that I've seen, the B end, which they're calling it, which I call the front, which is raised up, has always been the entrance to their diesel houses. So, like I said, for my logic as far as it goes, this is the front, this is the back, okay? But we're going to call it A and B end per the direction so you understand what I'm talking about when I say something. Front, back, B end, A end. Okay, good, all right. So I'm going to get those in, and then I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, stand by. So what's going on, guys? As you can see here, I got all of the vertical H-column support beams in. And now I'm just giving them a chance to set up a little bit. And then we're going to continue on to the next portion. Okay? Actually, I wouldn't say I got them all in. I believe there's some on the next page that I have to go in the four corners. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. That's on the last page. In the very corners. You get 1, 2, and then 2 more on the very corners. But nevertheless, as far as this step goes, I got all the support columns. You got 4 in the front, 4 in the middle, 4 in the middle again, and then 4 on the end. So you got 4, 8, 12, 16. You got 16 there. Vertical support beams. Got them all in there. Okay. One thing I want to add is just like how I was showing you guys in part 1, how these have these platform stanchions have little pins on the bottom so that you can fit them into the holes. Give you a quick example. These little holes are not the same ones, but nevertheless, as far as for these vertical support beams, they will have pins on the bottom as well so they can fit into the hole provided for them. Okay. So, like I said, be mindful of that, just as you obviously can't see it on here, but these had pins, and I'm just referring back to this. No need to really have shown you guys that. It's the same thing. I just need to reiterate it so you guys pay attention for that if you do want to do it that way. So yeah, like I said, got that in. Give these guys just a chance to set up a little bit. One thing I want to add, if you guys don't get them all 100% straight, like those are pretty much 100% straight with each other. You can kind of see there. Yeah, they're pretty much 100% straight with each other there. Sometimes you might get some that will do their own thing. Yeah, here we go. I got one that's poking out just a little bit. This one here. I mean, you can either try to force it back now. It doesn't really matter. As soon as you guys get the front base on, the face plate, I would say, you can always just glue it to the back of that, and it'll support it that way. That's one thing. You don't have to freak out if you don't get them 100% lined up with each other. Yeah, the ones that you want to kind of get lined up straight are the ones in the middle, mostly, because these are the ones that are obvious if they're crooked or leaning one way or something. So if you can, try to get those 4 and those 4 lined up with each other. But it's not a huge deal, because even if you do have like a little camera on a train or on a locomotive rolling through, I don't know if it'll be able to pick up what's already at the top of the roof, you know. Nevertheless, that's one thing to keep an eye out for. But so yeah, got this part done. Like I said, just giving it a chance to set up, and then we're gonna be pressing on. All right, catch you guys in the next. All right, and so the next step, okay. So we just did all that there, okay. The next step from here on out, or from here I should say, is to get the front plate, the back plate, and the side frames in. Okay. Now, that's what it's going to look like once you get those installed. But you got to get the grill in, and that plastic, that clear plastic in behind it as the glass windows. Once you get all that in, then you move on to the finishing touches pretty much. Okay. So that's our next step. So as far as this here, this is going to be put to the side for a little while to get this done. Okay. And this is what the directions say. Glue the glass inserts, those are the part numbers, into the respective recessed areas around the openings and the backs of the walls. Okay. And those are the respective numberings or part numbers. Note, it is important the glass be glued in first, then glue in the windows into openings in the walls from the front. Next, glue the walls together on the frame. Okay, doesn't say that, but you're obviously not going to be able to put these things together unless it's on the frame. That's almost obvious. Okay, and if I was you guys, I would start with the side frames first. That's what I usually do. And one other thing that I usually do as well is I'll just wait till I get there, because I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to do it on this one as well. I'll show that to you guys in a little bit. But Yeah, I would, if I were you guys, I would start with the side frames, or the long sides, I should say, are, and then do the front plate and the back plate. Okay, that's what I would do. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay, all right, guys, stand by. All right, so what is up, guys? I got the front portion in. Oh, I'm sorry, the back portion. I got the glass in. I you probably can't even tell. There you go. You can kind of see the glass, the plastic glass window inserts that they got. You stick them in the back, like I said, in the directions. But one thing that I want to show you guys is, like I said, I'll start with the sides first. That hasn't changed, but one thing I want to show you guys is this here. So can you guys see there how they do not line up correctly? And what I'm talking about right now is, you see this line that runs through the entire thing? This one here. Okay. That one there. Okay. If you look, I know it's kind of hard because it's all orange. Maybe, let me see. Hold on. Okay, maybe that's a little better. But maybe not. I don't know. But nevertheless, you have this line here that runs through the entire length of it. Same thing in this one. Make sure I get them lined up right. Okay. You can see how they do not line up. These two, or this one's lower than both of these. Okay. What I'm trying to show you, if you can kind of see it, you should be able to. Matter of fact, there you go. You can kind of see it there, how they don't line up. You can see it here at the joints. But when you get ready to place them into their respective parts, you want them to kind of line up, because if not, it'll be very obvious that they don't. And what all it is that, and I won't be able to show you this, but once you get it, you'll be able to feel it. The front part, the part that's supposed to be facing outwards, is a little bit raised, whereas the back is flush with the entire piece, if you will. Okay, so one side is a little bit raised. Okay, you can feel it protruding past the tops of all the other plastic pieces here. And whereas the back is completely flat and smooth all the way across. Nevertheless, that's one piece that you should know. Secondly, is before you lay these pieces in, make sure you have them staged so that they line up so you see it, and then go ahead and place them in there. Now, as you can see there, they all line up. Okay, that is what you want. That is exactly how you want it. Because like I said, if not, what it's going to look like once you put them in there will be just like this. It'll look just like that. There we go. It'll look just like that. Although you have these pieces that I guess will act as vertical uprights that do separate it, it still be obvious once you look at it. And it may bug you, it may not, but I know it bugs me. So that's why I'm just trying to put that little pointer out there. If you guys are nitpicky, kind of like that, I know I am. So that's why I'm kind of showing that, so you guys can point that out and see that. Because if not, you're going to glue it all in, and then you're going to realize, okay, this is backwards because it's not lining up. Maybe it's not supposed to, maybe it does. My experience, it does line up. You can get it to line up the right way. You just got to kind of pay attention and plan it out before you do it, and not be in such a rush. Okay, so I just want to show you guys that. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Stand by. And one more thing, guys. These inserts, okay, they go in just like that, okay? But one of the problems is that it has some extra residue plastic from the sprue in which it came in, and in some spots it's just too long, and you don't want to push too hard on here, because these plastic glue windows that you placed in there, they will push right out if you press too hard to press these little inserts in there. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do is
so as I was saying,
they won't fit in here if you just cut it out of the sprue and try to stick it in there. Okay, as you can see there, it won't fit. It's too fat, if you will. Okay, so I don't really know another way to do it. Well, there's one other way. Okay, but the way I'm going to show you is the way that I've done it. Okay, if you got a fresh X-Acto knife, this is actually one of the sharpest ones that they have. Okay, this is the one with the gold tip, if you will. I don't know what to call it, but this is one of the sharper ones, but you don't have to have this one. Any one of the X-Acto knives will work, number one. Number two, another way to do it is if you have some sandpaper, you know the old deal. Sand it down, test it out. But this way I've learned that it works a little bit quicker. It's also a little bit more dangerous, so be careful if you're going to do it this way. But all it is if you can, keep your hand away, okay? Place it on the opposite side and just run it along the sides of it to strip off some of that extra plastic. Okay, and as you can see by all this that's falling off, well, maybe you may not be able to see it, but you will start to accumulate some on your knife or whatever. You know, some will just fall off on its own, but you got to get some of this off or else it just won't fit in there. Okay, okay, so you're gonna do that a handful of times, and you're gonna get it pretty low, pretty small enough so that it'll fit, and then you're gonna finally set it in and it's gonna work. Okay, so don't be alarmed when you get to this point, like, oh my god, what do I do now? This is one thing that you may have to do either with sandpaper or with a nice sharp X-Acto knife. So I just wanted to throw that out there because when I very first did this, I didn't know what to do, and then I think I did it with sandpaper, and then on like the last few that I had left of these, I tried it with my X-Acto knife. Oh, this is much quicker, much easier, but it's a lot more dangerous. So obviously be careful. If you have some leather gloves or some sort of gloves, cut resistant gloves, it's a good time to use it. Some good PPE, but nevertheless, this is one way to do it and get it done. Okay, so if you're gonna do it this way, be careful, be safe, and take your time. There's no rush. If you feel like you're starting to get annoyed, stop, take a break, come back and get back in it. By no means do you need to rush, especially in this step. This is when you can really, really hurt yourself. Okay, so stand by. Now, guys, I'll show you the finished product of this portion in the next one. All right, guys.